Alrighty, guys, and welcome back to the Basketball Fix podcast. Now, in today's episode, we have got some breaking news and a bit of an emergency episode. I called up and messaged my good friend NBL Pleb, the best newsbreaker in Australian basketball. And, mate, there's been some big news once again, and it's all circulating around the Adelaide 36ers. Can you let us know the news, and then we'll react to the news from there as well.
Yeah, so obviously what everyone knows now is that Zylan Cheatham, the former New Zealand breaker, who just came off a season in Japan for Nagoya Dolphins, has signed a one-year deal with the Adelaide 36ers. Just continues the trend of Adelaide doing crazy, crazy things. Yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
Mate, I am shocked. I know they were going out there for a high caliber four man, and obviously Matt Hurt's name was thrown around, and there's been a couple other names that have sort of circulated around the mix of who this guy could be. And I'm shocked that Zylan Cheatham, to be fair, he wasn't necessarily the greatest 3-point shooter. You're probably going to be throwing him in the mix now with Montrezl Harrell, Isaac Humphries, who again aren't really good 3-point shooters as well. This kind of shocked me, to be fair. But I like the move. I think what you're getting now is you're getting a guy who you're probably going to play at the 3 position, I'd say now as well. You're probably going to have a starting lineup of Bryce Cotton, Dejan Vasiljevic, Zylan Cheatham, Montrezl Harrell, and Isaac Humphries potentially, with some incredible depth coming off the bench. So this team, mate, I don't know where to start with it. I think that's the biggest thing right now is, do you think it's a good fit, or is it kind of one of those ones where you're just a little bit unsure of right now?
I think it's good for the fans' point of view because it's going to be very entertaining. They're probably going to lead the league in just dunks, which is not a fun stat, but I just don't see how they're going to do it. I just feel like it's just an upgrade from Jarrell Martin, and then they brought in Trez back, so nothing's really changed from the Isaac Humphries point of view. So I'm not sure if they're going to do. I think they will do a rotation of Humphries, depending on Cheatham on Trez to do a rotation. I don't think we'll rarely, unless there's like elite, like psycho foul troubles, we'll see all three of them on the court together. Because yeah, Chetham's just he's not. They just don't have big shooting bigs now. I was hoping they'd get a Matt Hurt type of player who can just mid-range at threes, at least 40%, and they take around 6 to 8 shots from deep. But Cheatham, like if you look at his New Zealand stats, man, like he's obviously a good player, very energetic, can run the floor very quickly, not a great defensive player. Like he'll hit a corner three like one a game if he's like wide open, but he's just not a shooter. Plays above the rim, will get putbacks, very high energy, like I mentioned, and I'm just not sure how that's going to fit with Trez, who's kind of the same player, just like 20 kilos heavier and a little bit slower. So like it's cool, like it's fun, like for the league and stuff. But I was really hoping they bring in like a proper shooter.
Yeah, I'm a little bit up in arms about it because something in the back of my head's telling me this is going to work really, really well. And then there's the other thing on the other side of my head telling me that this is the Adelaide 36ers. And I'm conflicted right now because I think the team dynamic can work with all three of them on the court, because Mike Wells came out last year and said, oh, we're going to have moments where Martin, Harrell, and Humphries are all on the court at the same time. And that kind of shocked a lot of people. And it never came to fruition, more due to Jarrell Martin just never found form after that foot injury at the start of the year and just was never able to establish himself in the roster. Now, with this team, though, they're coming in together. And I see a world where you can play all three of them on the court at once and not necessarily have to be worried about the 3-point shooting because, again, you've got Bryce Cotton and Dejan Vasiljevic, arguably two of the more potent shooters and scorers in the NBL at the moment as well. So the dynamic, I think, is going to be okay. And like when you look at what else they've done this offseason, obviously Flynn Cameron's a massive one. And I wonder if there's a small piece of him right now who is going, oh my God, I thought I was coming over here to be a starter. I'm now going to be, again, another rotational player. Or if it's the whole fact of, wow, I've got a massive chance of potentially winning a championship. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be mentored by some incredible players to develop myself as well. So there's two sides of the story there. You got Isaac White, Keanu Rasmussen, you got Matt Kenyon, Michael Harris. The team is looking quite stacked for a team which has spent a shit ton of money. And are they going to be well and truly over this tax bracket, aren't they?
Yeah, they're absolutely. It's going to reach absolutely stratospherical heights in terms of what they're going to be. So they clearly don't care. So some people are asking me on Twitter, how does it work? So right now they have 3 imports and 2 marquees. So what they have to do now is either DJ or Humphreys will have that marquee title removed, which means there's no salary, there's no cap on that marquee because there's certain teams can pay whatever they want to the salary cap. It's locked in. But now because they're removing the marquee player from, let's just say, Humphreys, they will have to that out they're paying will have to go towards the salary cap, and meaning they're going to go way over, and they just have to pay more tax. So if it, like any team, if team owners are willing to spend as much money as they want, they can create a fucking super team if they want, obviously. But they're just going to be paying the tax. So like you mentioned before, you were saying the roster and stuff. I think for Flynn Cameron, it's going to be a very unorthodox lineup. I think Flynn Cameron is going to be the point forward playmaker for this season because I think he's got the capabilities of doing it. I just cannot see. We're going to see a lot of DJ and Cotton off ball screens and stuff, and Cameron is going to be the facilitator. Isaac White, great player, not a pure point guard. He's same. He's going to be a pure shooter. Matt Kenyon can do a little bit, but he's more of a defensive forward. And then you've got Michael Harris, who's going to come off the bench and just shoot threes. So I think, eh, like ironically, that Flynn Cameron is probably going to have the biggest role to play on this team this year. I know you've got superstars, but he's a really important piece. If they didn't have him, I'd be really concerned. But I think he's going to have a huge season, and I hope they're telling him behind closed doors, look, mate, you're going to be the main facilitator. You're going to be running the show. We know we've got Bryce and stuff, but he's there to score, drop buckets. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. And when you look at this team as well, you probably go, okay, outside of Trez, the team seems quite settled. And
Yep,
when I mean settled, obviously, it's hard to say they're settled if they're not really in the organization and around the scenes just yet, but they're utmost professionals. Bryce Cotton is the truest and the definition of professional. Zylan Cheatham, from all reports, is the exact same caliber person and player as well. Just a pure professional, takes care of his body, takes care of his mental health, takes care of everything, and is a really good leader in the locker room. And then you've got, obviously, Isaac Humphreys, who's a great leader, Dejan Vasiljevic, who has moments of being a great leader as well. And then the bench is just full of high character guys. It just feels like there is a leaf that has turned in Adelaide. And I think it's the perfect situation for Montrezl Harrell now to sort of be able to play to the character a little bit of the monster
yeah,
and be able to play to the character of he's the bad boy of the NBL, because around him, he's got a really strong leadership. Because Kendrick Davis wouldn't have been able to tell Montrezl Harrell last season, oi, check it, back in line. But Bryce
absolutely not.
Cotton can. And
Yeah,
Zylan Cheatham can, and those guys can, and they're going to be the voices on the court and in the locker room for Mike Wells, where Mike may lose control at some stages because he's still a fresh head coach anywhere. So I love this team. I think what they've done so far, and this is it now, that their roster is now set. And now it's over to Mike Wells, the coaching staff, which has got a massive upgrade as well in the last couple of weeks, to be able to figure out what's the best move for this team going forward. And right now, mate, I know it's probably an easy question, but are they the NBL championship favourites as of right now?
God, that's so hard. I still I still like Sydney Kings lineup, but you got to put them. It's them and Sydney Kings at the moment. I'm not until Melbourne United make some more signings. Right now, it's between them and Adelaide. Um, so I was mentioning before on Twitter. So people were asking, I had how did this actually come to fruition? So I was confused as well. I had no idea this was happening because I spoke to someone who's close to an agent that represents him. And last I heard that once he left, he had a somewhat underwhelming season in Japan for his standards. I think he only averaged 12 points a game. Um, but last I heard 3 weeks ago was he was going to go to summer league and see because he's still so hell bent on getting back in the NBA.
Yeah.
Um, and then if that didn't work out, he'd give Europe a crack. And then so I asked that person today what the hell has happened since then, and I don't want to like quote too much because he'll know. I don't want that news to get out there, but pretty much like Adelaide didn't give him a massive amount of money, and they gave him it. They gave him a salary in forms of promises. If you get my drift, like
Yeah.
I don't think they've because I thought, man, how are they paying this guy? Because he's easily like 450 to 500k import. Um, and so yeah, the word is like they haven't thrown the bag at him, but they've given him a, an opportunity to showcase his ability and win a championship that could lead to something else. So that's probably why he's like why he signed, because I'm like, you're just going to go to Europe and get more money. But yeah, so interesting. So that's why he is signed with Adelaide 36ers, and they're now just the official super team of NBL 26.
That's a really interesting sort of source there, and obviously some context around the decision to sign with the 36ers, because I wouldn't necessarily say that he's going to get bulk opportunity to show what he can do,
Yeah,
but
I know.
he's going to be able to show what sort of player that he can be off of superstars. And maybe that's where they've sold him as well. You know, you're going to be, if you want to make it back to the NBA, there's going to be that one guy. There's going to be that Bryce Cotton, that Steph Curry, that Luka Doncic, that one guy who you need to play off and play with. And maybe that's the sort of thing they've sold him essentially. Maybe it's learning how to play off a superstar talent. Maybe it's working with a superstar team and how you fall into that. Because if he does have, I don't know, let's just say a 15 and 7.5 rebound season in this team, I feel like that's a genuinely good season. And they go deep in the
That is,
playoffs,
yeah.
and you know that's where he could ricochet himself back into the NBA. And he's well and truly talented enough to play in the NBA. Watching him a couple of years ago in the NBL, and I can be excused here. I haven't watched him much overseas, and I don't really follow too much of the Japanese basketball. It's more your forte as well. But, you know, he is a dominant force and is a guy who has the pedigree, the class, and like I mentioned earlier, the leadership and the mentorship to be able to make it back to the NBA if all things fall in his favor. So that's a massive thing there. Like, and it's a massive watch for 36ers fans as well. You know, now you're getting a guy who is just focused. He knows what his goal is. You know, he wants a championship because that is going to put him in the best position to potentially make it back to the NBA. So, mate, this is kind of getting more exciting as you think about it. And this is fresh news as well. These are our immediate reactions. There's not much structure to this show here. This is a pretty much jump on and have a bit of a chit
Well,
chat
I
about
was
it as well.
messaging you, like for context, people listening, I was messaging Josh, and as soon as Adelaide released that bloody cryptic video, and it was like starts with Z, I'm like, it's Zylan Cheatham. It has to be.
Yeah.
Like it just as soon as I saw it, it has to. And then I saw the layout of the like silhouette, and I'm like, it's him. It's absolutely
Yeah.
him. Like I played enough Supercoach to know what his like body type's like, and like that's absolutely him. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting. I just hope he's like learnt the rules, because I do remember like 2 seasons ago, remember how he was like
Yeah.
trying to call that timeout and the clock was still going down. They're like, nah, bro, you can't. This is not the NBA, and they lost the game because of it.
Yeah.
Like, nah, dude. But
It's
yeah,
but one thing as
it's
well
great for
quickly.
fans. Yep.
100%. But one thing quickly as well, you shared something earlier on Twitter today, and it was so funny because it was about the New Zealand Breakers. And again, just for context as well, check out Pleb's X and Instagram as well at NBL Pleb. But we were speaking about, you know, we released an episode earlier today with Dylan Boucher, New Zealand Breakers, president of basketball operations there. And he was telling us about how they're looking for a 4-man import. And there was obviously a few comments under your tweet that you put out as well, and you kind of got asked about Zylan Cheatham. And no shit, you literally wrote like 3 minutes before that there was these little rumors going around that Zylan Cheatham had signed that nope, he'll be going to the summer league, and then after that potentially back to Europe. And then 3 minutes later, we see the zebra thing on their Instagram with the zipper with these random cryptical things, and then you sent me the silhouette, and you were like, I think it's Zylan Cheatham, and then you're like, man, it's 100,000% Zylan Cheatham, and we were just sat there going, how's this happened? Like, this is just a
I was,
ridiculous
yeah.
signing.
My jaw kind of hit the ground there, because I'm like, no one has asked me about Zylan Cheatham in any conversation in like 6 months. I just haven't had that conversation with someone. And I'm like, the last thing I knew was 3 weeks ago. That was the intel I got, and then nothing.
Yeah,
And I constantly check, like, because I'm curious to where these imports go. And then the conversation where I do have it is 3 minutes before he signs in Australia in the NBL. It's just like, oh my god, it's so frustrating, but
oh
very
mate.
funny. But I'm glad. I'm
No,
actually glad
definitely.
he's back. It's good for the league to be able to retain these type of imports. Like not retain, but like the fact that he's gone, played overseas, and now has come back is a good sign.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
just yeah, opposed to other players like Yanni Wetzel and stuff. So
Oh, we won't get
um,
there, mate. We'll have to do another episode on Yanni Wetzel, mate. I'm still in tears of that one. But quickly on Zylan Cheatham, and you
yeah,
mentioned it there as well. I think the retention of players and bringing them back, I think we've just seen a player go, what's more important for me right now? Is it money or is it me getting back to my goal of playing in the NBA? And that there for the NBL needs to be what they push right now. Zylan Cheatham decides Adelaide 36ers are the best thing for his NBA goals. Not the fact that he's coming here for 750 to $1 million a season like he could get in Japan, if not more money, or in Europe or somewhere else around the world. So that is the most important thing that the NBL needs to run with, that we are now a league and have been for a few years where if you come over here and play good, consistent basketball and have a goal of making it to the NBA, you can make it to the NBA. And that there gets me excited that maybe there could be some sort of turning of the guard in the next couple of seasons where people go, okay, I'll hit my money up when I'm 31, 32. I'll go play in Japan. I'll go play in Europe. But 24, 25, and I want to make it back to the NBA, I'm going to the NBL. I want to go play consistent, hard basketball and on a platform which has been looked at as one of the best in the world as well. So a massive, once again, congratulations to the NBL in that standpoint, because I think that is going to
yeah,
be a good little thing for them going forward, don't you reckon?
yeah. And it's interesting with Cheatham because I think, like from my point of view of his mentality, is he entered the Japanese league, the B League, at 28, like in his prime, and I think
Yeah.
he's had a for his standards a very underwhelming season. So like I mentioned earlier, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists type of guy. He's not he's way better than that in a league where it's probably not as good. Like it's a bit lower than the NBL. They just got a lot of money. So I think he's gone, looked at that and going, I'm turning 30 this year. He's 29 now. He is turning 30 this year. Um, and going, this is probably like my opportunity to actually get on the map a bit and get a bit of a spotlight on me, play for a team that has Mike Wells, who has NBA connections. So all those connections and on paper, he's like, okay, money's not a big factor for me. This is my time. You're not getting any younger. So yeah, and it's great. It's great that we had to like bring people like that back, and yeah, it's good.
No, it definitely is, mate. And Yanni Wetzel, we hope you're listening to that little part there as well in terms of maybe it's not all money, mate. Maybe it's just time to play some good basketball. But definitely, mate. We'll have to jump on another episode soon, anyways, mate, and break down some of the biggest news, the close signings, the signings that just didn't go over the line as well. But this has been a
Yeah,
big,
absolutely.
big story in the NBL, this one, with Zylan Cheatham returning to the NBL, to the Adelaide 36ers, out of all teams. If he ended up anywhere else, it would still be exciting. But the fact that he's in Adelaide with this caliber of a team around him, and obviously Mike Wells as the coach as well, I think this has got all the seeds of just being another incredible NBL season. And we're seeing some incredible talent come back as well, mate. But mate, I really appreciate you jumping on. Give your socials a plug again. It was great to meet you over there in Melbourne as well over the weekend. We've seen a couple of social media clips with yourself floating around in the background, meeting Felix and Harry Froling and all that sort of stuff, as mate. So yeah, give yourself a plug, and yeah, where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can just follow me on my Twitter, which is just NBL Pleb. That's probably where I do most of my posts and stuff. And then if you want to see more NBL One and just stats and stuff like that for the NBL One and other stuff, you can follow me on my Instagram, which is the same. It's just NBL Pleb. And yeah, it's not hard to find.
No, definitely, mate. It's not hard to find at all, and there's incredible content pretty much every single day as well. Like you mentioned, NBL One content. You've got your Felix von Hoff spotlight of the week, and everything to do with NBL basketball and NBL One basketball. NBL Pleb does follow it as well. So you want to look at the best newsbreaker in Australian basketball with the amount of connections that he's got. There is the best way to go. But going forward, mate, it's going to be lots of fun. We never know what is around the corner, though, in the NBL. For all we know, something could happen in Adelaide. They might be back to one man road. Might have one open spot again in a couple of weeks. We just never know with the NBL. But once again, mate, really appreciate you jumping on and looking forward to chatting to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, mate.